Hello fashion sewers, in today's tutorial I'm going to be giving you an overview of one of these. I call it an overlocker, some of you may refer to it as a serger. I'm Colleen Geely and this is Fashion Sewing Blog TV. I'm going to refer to this as an overlocker, but remember it is a serger. And a serger overlocker is a sewing machine. The advantage it has is that as you sew, there's a blade here. It trims away excess fabric and also threads, and it also neatens the raw edge in a much more professional manner than what you would get with modern sewing machines. Now this is a 4-threader, as you can see. You can also use it as a 2-threader, which will be those two, and you can also use it as a 3-threader, which will be those 3. Now it operates on the same basis as a sewing machine. You've got your tensions here. You need to make sure that they're correct so that your stitching lies flat, and then you've also got your hand wheel, which is at the side. So that's just a basic overview of the actual overlocker. I'm just showing you the back of the sewing machine now, or rather the overlocker, and here we have 4 threads. The 2 last threads are what you call the loopers, and these 2 here are what you call the needle threads. Now the loopers, they create the actual stitching that loops around the raw edge of the fabric, and the 2 needle threads, they actually keep the loopers in place. I'm going to demonstrate 2 ways in which a beginner fashion sewer can use an overlocker in order to either sew a garment from beginning to end or improve those raw edges of your woven fabric. The first one is going to be using a knitted fabric, and here I have an example of the overlocking stitch, which is the 4 threads on a seam. Here I've got a sample of knitted fabric, and I'm going to be using 4 threads in order to sew it. I've got a little mistake here, which I'm going to show you where the blade is going to cut that off. I didn't do a straight cutting there. So what you need to do is place your work just the same as using a sewing machine on the plate, and it matches up and aligns with the edge of your plate. No further than that, because you don't want to be cutting any seam away. Lift your foot up, the lever is at the back as with the sewing machine, or you can lift it from the front and put your work under, and using your presser foot, the same as the sewing machine, just stitch away. And as you can see, the blade is cutting off little bits of the actual seam itself, so you can actually neaten your edge as you go. You can see the blade working away there. And then make sure when you come to the end of your work, an overlocker does not reverse, so you need to make sure you've got a long enough tail, and then you actually then trim, cut away, and there you have your overlocked seam. And the second way you can use your overlocker is when you're using your woven fabric. Now this is only just for neatening the raw edges of your fabric. So let me just show you here. I've got a seam here that has been overlocked, and it's a fabric that frays, and as you can see it beautifully finishes it off, gives it that nice professional look. Now here I have a raw edge, and this time I'm going to be just using 3 threads because I just want to neaten the raw edge. I want to get rid of all these little fray edges here. So I'm going to be lifting my foot from behind instead of at the front, put it down, making sure that I line it up with the plate here so that the blade can actually trim off all these little hairs along the edge here. It's a very easy machine to actually operate. It's faster than the actual sewing machine. Remember, it doesn't reverse, so make sure you leave a tail and then cut halfway. And there we have a neatened edge on a woven fabric. Here I have the sample side by side. This is the knitted and this is the woven. Now with woven, I've only used 3 threads, and you use your fabric as a single layer, so you haven't created a seam. You actually neaten your raw edge, and then you go to your sewing machine and then you create your seam. Now with the knitted fabrics, you can make garments from beginning to end, and you work with 2 layers of fabrics. So I've got a closed seam here, and in order to have a closed seam I need to use the 4 threader. because it actually stitches the loopers down, and it also creates a straight stitch as you would get with your sewing machine. I hope you found that video tutorial helpful. Remember, it is just a basic overview of how to use your overlocker, and some of you may refer to it as a serger. I will be doing more video tutorials on how to use your overlocker when you're doing your sewing projects. So if you have any comments or queries, please put me in the comment box below, and I'll see you next time.